Thank you for joining in. Good afternoon, and let's jump right into it. First off, I want to mention again, on the right side, you can find the question tab, and you can ask questions in real time. We will try to answer them as we go through the presentation, so you don't have to wait at the end of the presentation to ask questions. It will be done during the session. We will try to answer either in real time or once we're done.
I don't know what that means. If you like, I can search the web for.
Now, thank you for joining in for our webinar. The goal here will be to bridge the gap between knowledge and marketing excellence. Nowadays, when real connections matter, our goal is to create real conversations between people and real strategies. The goal is, by the end of this session, for you to be able, whether you're a senior marketeer or you're a starting entrepreneur, the goal will be for you to be able to run Quora Ads and to take advantage of the Quora Ads. So we'll be looking at how you can empower your branding and performance marketing using Quora Ads. My name is Plamy, and I'm an account executive here at Quora. With me is Valeria, our agency and customer success manager, who is also going to join and talk a little bit more about different strategies. So let's jump into it and see how Quora can help you empower your branding and performance marketing. But first, let's take a look at our agenda. We're going to get a quick overview of Quora Ads. We're going to take a look at the user behavior and why advertisers choose to use Quora. Then we're going to go into high intent audience in Europe, taking a look at who is actually using Quora. Which are the people, what is their profile? And because we know that a lot of you are not present only in Europe, we're also going to dig into the North American market too in terms of metrics and data. Then we will take a look at how you can position yourself in terms of ad formats, some metrics according to different ad formats that we've seen so far, and best practices. Then we're going to continue with the different targeting strategies that you can use in your advantage and how you can engage the audience. Then we're going to move into specific strategies and specific approaches that you can implement according to your general marketing strategy. And finally, we're going to finish off with analytics and performance tracking and different integrations that Quora provides. So let's jump into it and take a look more about the traffic that Quora gets. What is depicted here on the map, as you can see, is Quora has more than 400 million unique visits every month. The highest number is coming from the United States, then we have India, and then we have United Kingdom and Europe. Something very interesting is that for non-English speaking countries, most of the traffic comes to the English version of Quora. This is why it is valuable to keep in mind that when you prepare your ads, prepare them in English. This is where our audience is. Now, what is the behavior of users on Quora? How is it different from other platforms? People are on Quora to ask questions, to answer them, to get into discussions in a huge range of topics according to their interests or current pain points. People on Quora are knowledge seekers or experts. They can either be looking for more information or trying to provide more value for those who do. People on Quora come to read, contribute, and most importantly, to conduct their own product research. So when they see an ad on Quora, they're much more receptive to look at the solution that is answering their query or their current interest. And why advertisers choose Quora? It allows you to dip into niche specific topics according to what people are reading about right now. This allows you to create your own narrative and positioning in front of your audience. Positioning yourself in front of a knowledge-seeking audience. And while they're in the middle of their research, you can be there and establish yourself as a trusted solution giver, as a trusted brand that they can come to answer their query. A lot of the audience that we see on Quora is unduplicated, which means that it doesn't exist on any of the other platforms. This allows you to diversify your marketing mix. Whether right now you're on any channel and you're not happy with the results, or you're trying just to diversify your marketing mix, or maybe you believe that you reach a certain limit and you want to reach a bigger audience, Quora can provide this for you. Now, the metrics that you see here are global, and now we're going to jump into more specific into different markets. Something that I want to mention here is that after the webinar, you're going to receive a recording, so you will be able to take a little bit deeper look at each of those metrics. Now, going into Europe, here's something that is a little different from the global metric, is that we have even higher percentage for LinkedIn. Imagine if you can reach 55% of the audience on Quora is not on LinkedIn, and you can reach those people that are either experts in their field or they're currently looking for a solution, and you manage to reach them at the moment of their engagement to position yourself better. This Quora is just another channel that can provide a way for you to diversify your marketing mix. And in a similar way, we can take a look at the United States and in general North America. The numbers are similar. Here, the way you should approach Quora is, this is whether you're going through the 23% for Facebook to the 54% of Snapchat. It allows you to reach an audience that is currently seeking more information, that is within their current query, and you can be there to position yourself as experts. Now, the big question is, who is actually on Quora? Who is the audience? So now we're going to go a little bit deeper into different metrics that show and demographics about the Quora audience. Now, a big percentage of Quora audience are decision makers. Quora users are 50% more likely to be senior decision makers at work. What we saw earlier with 55% of the audience not being on LinkedIn, this provides you a chance to make sure that you can position yourself in front of those experts, bypass the gatekeepers, and influence the decision making of the people that have the purchasing power within their companies. In a similar way, we're going to look at North America. And here we can see how 26% of Quora users are decision makers at work. This allows you to make sure that when you're targeting B2B companies, and often when you have a B2B solution, it is on certain places, on certain channels, it may be too expensive to make sure that you have the right targeting to reach your audience. Being able to tap into different topics and verticals allows you to reach those decision makers that we already see are on Quora. Naturally, because we have so many decision makers, the audience of Quora also has higher income. Here we can have a depiction of the household income of Quora users per country for Europe. It's very impressive that 42% of households in the UK that are Quora users have a household income higher than £40,000. Similarly, Germany, that is also a very prosperous country with high standards of life, shows those results of 39% of household income above 50,000 euro. But the income is not the only thing that is appealing about Quora. More than half of our users attend university degree or higher. So we're looking at an audience that is with higher income, higher education, seeking additional information and knowledge. Let's look at North America. Here, 60% of the households that are using Quora are with income above 50,000. And similarly, almost half of the users are academics. If you have a product that is more expensive, targeting higher end customers, it is even more vital to create trust and to be able to position why your solution is different, to create this brand awareness and to create this to set yourself apart from the other companies. And Quora, with our targeting options and formats, allows you to do that. Whether you have whether you offer a financial service, a software solution, or maybe just expensive goods, different products, Quora allows you to dip into an audience that is, as we saw earlier, unique, with decision makers, higher income, higher education, but also Quora allows you to dip into a lot of different topics. You have a huge range of topics that people are reading about, millions of views every month happening. This can give you the chance to make sure that you target different verticals that are important for your product with the different messaging that is relevant for the different audiences. Whether people are coming on Quora to research a certain software tool, to read a little bit more about how to prepare for their next interview, or maybe to conduct their own product research of which iPhone is better. Either one of those discussions are happening and people are perceptive at this moment. But even more interesting is that within every big topic, we have additional topics that go behind them. For example, under health, we have also fitness and mental health. On Quora, we have more than 300,000 active topics that people are asking questions about, answering, discussing, reading. So with a little bit of research, you can find your topics that are relevant to your audience and also to your product. Now let's jump even a little bit deeper and see how are the trends for different topics. First, we're going to look at business and software. Interestingly, we see a spike in the number of views that our audience has during Q1, which matches very well what we see in the industry, with a lot of companies starting to prepare their new year and budgeting. So whether they're researching a new software tool, new vendors or solutions that they can partner with, this happening in Q1. We see it also on Quora. You can easily see how on 78% rise in computer security question views and 54% rise in the views of questions about social media marketing. So if you want to be able to stand out and influence this decision making, it is vital for you to be present on the platform on Q4 so that you can lay down the foundation for your positioning. Then we're jumping into education. Education sees a good spike from October on, and especially a little bit more in Q1 from October on, because we have a lot of students starting their school journey and doing different types of research on Quora, but also in Q1, because when we talk about education, we're looking also at personal education and company education. So in Q1, we have a lot of companies that are researching different vendors that can help with upskilling their employees. We're looking a lot of New Year's resolutions of people trying to find different solutions where they can learn new skills. This is why we see such an uprise in views of questions about e-learning in January, but also the students, as they're interested in their school during their school year. Also in Q1, we see a rise in questions about graduate school admissions when they start preparing for applying for colleges or universities. So whether you're a university, educational institution, or you have a product that is for students or upskilling professionals, as you can see the trend, now is the time to jump in. One evergreen topic that we have is health. With health, it is always trendy, but in January, we have a significant spike. As I mentioned earlier, New Year's resolution, here we see it very much affecting the views for topics about gym and workout when they double compared to previous periods. And health topics have 75 million views on average, monthly views, just in Europe. Continuing with online purchase intent, for online shopping, we see also a rise in the views during Q4. So during the holidays, we see a lot of people asking questions about different online stores, gift ideas, or even comparing different products in order for them to choose what to buy. So as we see this rise during Q4, having much more views, interestingly, we see that the cost per click that a lot of advertisers get during Q4 is the same or even lower compared to previous periods. And following Christmas, in January, we see a lot of people reading about game consoles and video games. After they open their presents, it's time for them to start researching how to use them. Gaming is also one of our biggest branches on Quora. It is, as you see, we don't have such a strong seasonality compared to other topics. It is a consistent bringer of good results. We have a lot of gaming clients, and we just wanted to emphasize on how good Quora can be as a channel where people are researching about video games, mobile games, or even we have a lot of questions about how people can monetize their gaming hobbies. Now, after we viewed all those topics, let's look at how you can position yourself in front of this audience. We have 4 main ad formats. The 3 ones that you may have seen on other platforms are video, text, and image ads. The one that is more unique for our platform and that is our native format is promoted answers. I'm going to go into more details about each and every one with metrics that we've seen so far and some best practices that may help you out. First, let's start with text and image ads. Text ads provides you the chance to position yourself on Quora, even if you don't have the visual resources. You can have a very clear offering by the right messaging and individual call to action button. Image ads, on the other hand, is a very interesting format because it is a hybrid format. It will change into a text ad compared to where it is on the platform. If it is on a text-rich page, the image will be removed in order for the user experience to be smoother and the ad not to be too invasive. So in order for the ad to give you better results, it will optimize accordingly and change to text or video ads. Now, the metrics that you see are average metrics that are global and are across different topics and are covering different products. So if you want to learn more about yours, then we need to have an individual call where we can discuss more specific numbers. Now let's jump into video ads. What we see from our end is that on average, the view-through rate is at least 56%. And people watch almost 8 seconds of the video, which is much higher than the averages that we see for the industry, which allows you to make sure that your message is seen before the user makes a decision whether to swipe to continue with their own journey or to look more about your offering and go to your landing page. But how do our advertisers get such amazing results? Let's see what they've done so far. Nexo, make sure that in the first 5 seconds of their video, they mention their 3 main offerings. They start with a hook so that the user can decide whether this is the right ad for them and what actions they want to take. SEMrush have very clear branding. They make sure that their whole ad is dressed, covered in their colors, animation, so that they can position their brand even stronger using Quora. And finally, TradeLink, they make sure that they have captions all through the video. So even if the user doesn't unmute the video, their messaging will get through. So these are some of the tips that we recommend for you and that helped Genupala to get the results that they have. This is one of our best success stories. They offer personalized nutrition guidelines based on the genetic information of their customers. The way they did it is because it is a product that is a little bit different and may require a little bit more trust. They used user-generated content, user-generated videos in order to create this trust and in order to explain what their product is and how it actually works. By doing so, they managed to scale and they managed to get 40% decrease in their cost per purchase compared to other platforms. And now is our native format, promoted answers. Promoted answers allows you to answer questions of your target audience and then boost these answers in order to reach even more of your audience. By doing so, by answering questions, you can establish yourself as leaders in your field, as experts in your field. Within every promoted answer, you can have multiple links. You can have different call to actions leading to different landing pages that are relevant to your offering. By doing all this, you can shape your own narrative and tell your own story the way you want to do it. And because this is the native format, on average, we see 4 times higher click-through rate compared to the other ad formats. Here we can see through the year how the click-through rate and the cost per click change. What we mentioned earlier with rise in the views during Q4 is also incorporated here, where we see lower cost per click compared to earlier during the year, which actually can give a lot of chances for different businesses to make sure that they are not competing on other platforms with for ads that are too expensive during this holiday season. And because we want to make sure that you have answers, in order to have promote answers, you need answers, how you can do it in an easy way. I'm sure you have blogs. From your blog, take the blog posts that perform best, that give you the best results. Then go to PO. PO give you the chance to reach different AI chatbots like ChatGPT-4, for example. Ask PO to repurpose your content piece into a Quora answer according to the question that you're targeting, and then you can post on Quora and promote this answer. Because we mentioned PO, having access to different chatbots, how can you use it in your advantage to complement even more your promoted answers? First, the way you can repurpose existing blog posts, you can not only paste the whole text, but you can also put a link so that it can generate the answer that you're looking for. Another thing is, if you don't delete the history of your PO chat, it will remember what you like, what are the prompts that you've given so far, so that next time it follows more your guidelines, it has a context of what you're looking for. Or if you want to ensure that you always have the same voice, your answers always have the same brand voice, then you can even create your own chatbot. No need for coding, just use any of the base bots and you can build onto it. Or you can test the different chatbots that are available there and see which one works for you. And another way, you can take an answer that you already have and you can change it using any of the chatbots in order for you to do A/B testing and test different versions of the answer and how it works for you. So overall, promote answer being one of our favorite and best performing formats, we want to make sure that you can easily do it. Because here you can see how Amazon Global Selling did it for themselves. Amazon Global Selling provides a solution for small businesses to export their goods and in this way to grow their business. Because a lot of companies may not know that this solution even exists. A lot of entrepreneurs may not know it. They make sure to come on Quora and answer questions that are regarding export. And while they're answering, they explain about their service and they position themselves as the leader in their field. In this way, they can educate their audience, what they're doing, and they can establish themselves as a trusted partner. So by this time, I hope that you can also already imagine what are the questions your audience may be asking, and you can already imagine which content pieces you would use for promoted answers. I'm passing it on to Valeria, who is going to continue by sharing in more depth different strategies and approaches that you can use in your advantage. Over to you, Valeria.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So nice to see you, and thank you for your time today. So we're going to move forward by digging into targeting and audience engagement. But before we do that, I just want to take a minute to slow down and recap on where we're standing, not just individually, like as a platform or as a brand, but also in the marketing industry. So we're about to face the last quarter of the year where everyone basically needs to achieve their business goals. This has been a very turbulent year overall. Economic instability has impacted different businesses in different ways. things are looking better. However, I think we can all agree that everyone is taking modest decisions regarding products and services. And seasonality is going to be key in the role that we play for the rest of 2023, pretty much. As you can see, we have a lot of holidays coming up. This is the outlook just for October and November, but we know even how it goes with Christmas. So the key to finish the year on a good note is going to be cost-efficient strategies that attack multiple parts of the funnel at the same time. So how can you do that with Quora? As you can see, Quora, we've been saying that there is a high intent audience of users, but how does this translate into their shopping? So 61% of Quora users shopped or browsed for products online during the last week. You can see a contrast of how the product research section for them goes versus in other platforms. However, we have seen that there's a very positive trend for this, even for videos. The engagement of content in videos continues to rise as time goes by. You can see that there has been a very strong peak of number of views per day in July. We usually see a summer slowdown. However, we can tell you that content is picking back up and users are engaging. So the use of videos in your campaigns is going to be key for product placement. But most importantly, besides being purchase driven, these users are open to acquire premium versions of products. As Plamy showed you before, we have high intent users that are decision makers in their businesses. They are educated. They hold senior decision making positions in their works. So, and they have high purchasing power. So this all translates into the fact that if you give them the right information, and you show them the actual value that your product or service provides, they're going to be willing to pay the premium version of it. And this, of course, is going to give you a higher lifetime value eventually. So our question to you is, do you want to close the year on a high or actually on a low? Because as you can see here in the graph, average CPC, it's pretty stable or even decreases depending on the format in Quora throughout the most competitive seasons. We remain cost effective regardless of seasonality or brands stepping it up during the holiday season. So this is going to be important because not only we want you to take advantage of the user generated content in Quora, but we also want you to take advantage of strategies that are going to bring you the best value for your budget. So how do we start doing this? How do we leverage the Quora audience strategies and what are our targeting alternatives? So we always like to say that we have it divided in 4 buckets: broad targeting, audience targeting, contextual, and behavioral. Each of them have subcategories and different features within each bucket. The question is, when do you use which? So broad targeting, we're going to recommend it for maximizing awareness. So if you have a big product launch, a webinar, a whitelist, something that you want to massively broadcast, then this is going to be the right targeting strategy for you. It is going to place you in all types of conversations, regardless of what's displaying in the screen at the moment. Audience targeting, I'm sure we're all familiar with it: remarketing, audience lists, website visitors, lookalikes, basically users with a specific pattern of behavior, and also a good opportunity to push for some upselling and certain opportunities. And then we have contextual and behavioral, which are going to approach same types of conversations, but at different moments. So contextual is going to place you when someone is reading exactly at that moment about a specific topic. It's great to capitalize on new readers, on third-party traffic. So for example, if someone lands in Quora because they were using a search engine, this is traffic that you can catch with contextual. And then also users that are just looking for a specific solution in that specific moment. Behavioral is going to help you reach people who have a consistent interest for something throughout time. So this means that, of course, they can handle a higher level of information since they've been reading about this for some time now. And it is going to place your ad in their screen, again, independently of what they're reading at the moment. So in order to give you an even more solid example, let's say that you have a company of project management software, and that your ideal buyer persona or the decision maker you want to contact is the head of project management of an SMB. So if you use contextual and you want to go straight for product specific topics, you can place yourself in questions like, what is the best project management tool? What is project management? What are the best agile software project management tools? However, if you use behavioral, these people can be reading about something else. They're still the decision maker that you want to be in contact with, and they're still a person who holds knowledge about project management. So they can be reading about recipes or a hobby like running or looking for another type of solution. They're still going to be wanting to look out for project management tools, and you can still place your ad in the screen. So how do we start integrating Quora ads into your marketing strategy, especially if it is a multi-funnel strategy, which is mostly common nowadays? The important thing to keep in mind is that even though we are a social media platform, we have a very hybrid nature in terms of how users approach content in Quora. They do have this social media behavior where they're passively scrolling, wanting to organically learn more about their topics of interest, but we also have that search engine side where someone has a specific point, a very well-defined issue, and they want to look for a solution. This is why Quora helps brands reach high-value users who are actively looking for them, and 64% of those users are researching products online before buying them in Quora. Something very important here and that we want you to bear in mind is that we are aware of how users are starting to behave now as well. This is the era where everyone wants a very fast answer. Sometimes, as Plamy was mentioning, we ask it very quickly to a chat or a bot or so on. However, there's always going to be this very important point of capitalizing on organic and user-generated content, because when we are looking for a product or a service or a solution, we're always going to want that friendly review of someone with knowledge or that has firsthand experience, who has been there, who has tried it with their own hands. This is always going to have that personal value that can be a decision-making factor when you are choosing what to acquire. So we want you to take advantage of this user-generated content and engagement peak that happens during the last quarter of the year. Not only can it help you reach your goals for Q4, it is also planting the seeds and laying the ground for Q1 and the beginning of 2024. So this is a very important moment to jump on board and start using a different approach for your strategy. Here you can see how upvotes on feeds fluctuate throughout the year during the first 24 hours that a piece of content is posted. So basically, this is engagement that happens during the first day of a piece of content going out. And as we said, evergreen content is more important now than ever. The number of posts added in Quora continues to increase significantly. We're expecting to reach an all-time high during the last Q of the year. So again, just one more opportunity for you to start placing that product in an organic manner, but knowing that there are pay ads behind your actions. So finally, let's just piece the puzzle together and start looking at how we integrate this into what you're doing nowadays. I think that we always had this perception that the funnel is very well divided and that everything is very sectioned between upper and lower, but we can all agree that branding and performance are more dependent on each other than ever. Pushing brand recognition and positioning is going to make you push conversions, acquisition, consideration simultaneously. So strategic upper funnel positioning and reputation are going to be key for people when evaluating and making the decision of jumping on board with you. To start off with branding, again, strategic positioning is going to be key. And the main starting point is going to be telling them who you are. What is your product or service? And basically, most importantly, what is your unique value proposition? So what is that defining thing, that edge that you have over the competition that makes you differentiate yourself and that helps you answer to their needs or cater to their needs in a way that no one else does? For this part, we recommend you a very broad awareness strategy. Targeting can be broad, contextual topics, behavioral interests. And the idea here is that you have leadership by thought and expertise. We need to strengthen your audiences as much as possible. Let's nurture them, let's wire them up, and let's leverage on that organic and user-generated content as much as possible. The narrative needs to be very seamless and spontaneous. It doesn't need to seem like a pushy pitch, nothing like that. It's just you showing what you know about and saying, here's my product, here are some features. If you're interested, you can learn more about this here. The storytelling needs to generate curiosity and eagerness to learn more. And as we previously explained, you can repurpose the content that you have. This is not about having a community manager 24/7 answering questions in Quora. You can use your blogs or your articles and use tools like Poe to reframe the narrative and adapt it to answer the questions. Here you can see an example of Deal. This is a very successful payroll and compliance company that advertises in Quora, and payroll and compliance is their area of expertise. HR might be one of the decision makers of interest, but they tend to answer questions about the specific trends that are happening in that industry. Like, for example, how can a US corporation hire a remote employee in another country? And now when we get down to performance, it's going to be game time. Of course, we need to boost prospecting, boost conversions, and give that one last push to users throughout the funnel. The key idea here is to have a very clear statement. How are you answering to that problem or that need that they have? Here we're going to go for more niche segmentation, something more product or service oriented. We're going to leverage even one step further that expertise with your opinion leadership. And we're going to capitalize those nurtured audiences that we were warming up in the previous step. Targeting can be topics and interests as well, but more product-oriented conversations. We can go even further down with contextual keywords or behavioral keyword history, and of course, audience targeting for lookalikes, remarketing, people who have visited your website, and so on. Narrative is going to be very concise. Storytelling just needs to tell clearly what is your value and a very straight CTA. Information is going to be power here, so short and easy, and let's push the momentum as much as you can. This is another example of Deal. As you see, narrative completely different from the previous example. Here you can get a grasp of what type of platform they have and how easy it is to use. You can onboard employees in 5 minutes or less. Now, some of the advantages that we can provide for you if you have managed services or if you're an agency and you're one of our marketing partners is that we have different features that are going to be available for you throughout this drafting, launching, and optimization process that can more or less make your life easier. You can have access to betas such as non-English ads. The original advertising language in Quora at the moment is English. We also have some others very interesting like auto bidding that are pretty much changing the game. You can have in-depth reportings that break your segmentation into detail so you don't only see your results by campaign, ad set, and ad, but also by each piece that you're targeting. You can get early product launches, ad review support, education and training. We're holding very periodic workshops where we have personalized education to your team, your agency, or whatever need you have. And then finally, category insights that are going to be key for expansion. So if there's ever an overlapping conversation that you think has a business opportunity for you, something that you think you could look further into or is interesting territory to cover, we can give you insights on that market, depending on demographics, conversations, so on, and see what's the real potential for your business there based on your performance as well. And then finally, analytics and performance tracking, of course, are going to be key. Quora works with a standard pixel that has standard and custom events as any other platform. These, of course, it's going to be key to make sure that we're tracking properly, that we can attribute accordingly the success of each campaign or each action, get proper learning in the algorithm, and so on. And we have a series of integrations depending on what type of platform you need or what type of campaign you have that, as you can see, are listed here. We also have API integrations in case you're interested. And finally, overall, we don't want you to miss a great opportunity. As we just said, we're closing the year, so let's close it on a high, but in the most cost-effective manner. This has been a very crazy year in some senses. Every business has been impacted in a different way, and this is a moment to also lay the ground and start 2024 in the most stable approach as possible. So we would be happy to join your team, collaborate, help you, show you what our platform has to offer. And of course, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them as well. And if you want to take this even a step further, we can sit down and have a meeting to show you what Quora has for you. Thank you so much for your time.